The woman in mourning clothes remained motionless on her front steps, her ebony dress rippling in the endless wind. Her steel-gray eyes, sharp as winter ice, searched the empty landscape. A rider approached through swirling dust, his mount weary from travel. He appeared weathered and reserved, his features hidden beneath a battered hat's shadow. She'd heard whispers about him, a wanderer skilled with livestock but clumsy with conversation. "You're behind schedule," she stated, her tone quiet yet unwavering. He touched his hat's brim uncertainly, boots shuffling against the parched ground. "Wasn't aware anyone was expecting me." The cowboy's words came out mumbled, gaze fixed downward. The widow moved closer, her stare unrelenting. "I require a man," she declared bluntly. "Not for romance, understand, for necessity." His forehead creased, though he remained silent. She gestured toward the fields, barren beneath the merciless sun. "This ground needs an heir, someone to continue its legacy. Do you possess that capability?" Her challenge hung in the still air. The cowboy shifted uncomfortably. "Ma'am, I'm nothing but a wanderer," his rough voice replied. "Don't have much to contribute." She released a harsh, brief laugh. "I'm not seeking wealth. I need strength, a foundation to take hold." Her penetrating gaze searched him thoroughly. He felt as vulnerable as livestock in open terrain. "Sit," she commanded, indicating a wooden chair. He complied, hat clutched nervously, pulse racing. She served coffee, black as midnight, sliding the cup toward him. "My husband has passed," she explained. "Left me this property, but no offspring to inherit it. I'm not youthful, but I'm far from finished." The cowboy sipped carefully, scalding his tongue, offering no response. Her voice grew gentler. "You carry loneliness, don't you?" "I recognize it in your expression, the same emptiness that haunts me." He glanced up, captured by her honesty, yet remained speechless. Gripping his cup tightly, the sun descended slowly, staining the horizon crimson. The widow leaned back, her chair groaning softly. "I don't require sweet words," she continued. "I need someone dependable, someone capable of creating something permanent." The cowboy's jaw clenched. "I'm not reliable," he confessed. "Never remained anywhere for long." She smiled knowingly. "You're present now. That's a beginning." Her statement awakened something within him, unfamiliar yet warming. As darkness fell, stars pierced the prairie sky with brilliant light. The cowboy studied the heavens, her words resonating in his mind. "Why choose me?" he finally asked. The widow's eyes gleamed. "You possess strength and quietude. You don't squander words or time. That's sufficient." He shook his head. "I'm no father material." She moved closer now. "You needn't be one. Simply provide what I require. The remainder belongs to me." Her voice carried challenge, daring him to remain. He spent the night in the barn, hay irritating his back. Her words haunted his thoughts. Heir, legacy, purpose. He'd never contemplated beyond the next trail. The widow's determination unsettled him, her boldness like flame he couldn't comprehend. By sunrise, he was tending her horses. She observed from the porch, approving. "You labor diligently," she called out. "Excellent. This land won't tolerate weakness." He nodded, uncertain yet drawn to her presence. Days flowed by. The cowboy remained longer than intended. He mended barriers, transported water, keeping his hands occupied while his mind wandered. The widow worked alongside him, tireless in her efforts. "Do you ever consider settling down?" she inquired one afternoon, perspiration on her forehead. He shrugged. "Never had cause to." She offered him a water container. "Perhaps you do now." Her touch lingered briefly but carried electricity. He looked away, heart hammering, uncertain of his feelings. During supper, she spoke of her deceased husband. "He was decent but ultimately fragile," she said, stirring the evening meal. "Couldn't provide me with children." The cowboy chewed thoughtfully, listening intently. "You're different," she added. "You possess passion, even though you conceal it." He flushed, fork hesitating. "I'm not concealing anything," he muttered. She smiled, a rare, warming expression. "You are, but I see through your facade." Her words felt like rope, drawing him nearer. The prairie flourished under their joint care, wildflowers speckling the meadows. The cowboy sensed the land's attraction, similar to the widow's compelling voice. "You could remain here," she suggested one evening, her hand grazing his as they gathered firewood. He froze at her touch, electric as lightning. "This isn't my territory," he said quietly. It could become so, she countered, eyes unwavering. If you're man enough. The challenge hung heavy as nightfall itself. He lay sleepless, her words creating turmoil in his thoughts. He'd fled from connections his entire existence. Towns, relationships, commitments. But the widow was unique. She didn't plead or cling desperately. She demanded with clarity and fierceness. I require a son, she'd stated plainly. You can provide that. He turned over, staring at the barn's wooden beams. Was he capable? The notion frightened him, yet also anchored him like seeds in rich earth. Morning brought rainfall, drenching the fields. The cowboy labored through the downpour, the widow beside him. You're determined, she observed teasingly, mud streaking her face. He grinned, unusual for him. So are you, she laughed, a sound that warmed his core. They stood close, rain dripping from their hat brims. Remain here, she said softly. Not for my sake, but for what we might create together. Her hand touched his, and this time he didn't retreat. The cowboy repaired the barn's roof, hammer steady in his grasp. The widow watched, her attention intense. You're skilled with tools, she commented, voice low. He paused mid-swing. Skilled enough, he replied, half jesting. Her eyes locked onto his. More than sufficient. The atmosphere thickened with tension. He descended, standing close enough to feel her warm breath. Her fiery presence impossible to ignore. At twilight, they walked the fields together, soft earth beneath their feet. This land has been waiting, she said, for someone to claim it properly. He kicked a stone, remaining silent. I'm not that person, he said eventually. She stopped, facing him directly. You are. You simply haven't realized it yet. Her hand touched his arm, firm yet gentle. He didn't move, captured by her certainty. The stars above seemed to confirm her words, bright and constant. The cowboy extended his stay another week, then another. The widow's house felt less like a stranger's dwelling. He carved a chair for her porch, hands working steadily. She watched, satisfied. You're constructing something, she observed. More than mere furniture. He looked at her, heart pounding. Perhaps, he said softly. Her smile was small but triumphant. That's all I need for now, she replied, her gaze holding his, unshakable. One night, a storm battered their windows. The widow lit a lantern, its glow soft on her features. Do storms frighten you? She asked playfully. He shook his head. Not much scares me. She stepped nearer, carrying the scent of earth after rain. Good, she whispered. I need someone who stands firm. Her palm rested on his chest, and he remained motionless. The tempest raged outside, but inside was quiet, electric with possibility. The cowboy woke to birdsong. The storm passed. The widow was already working, kneading dough. You sleep deeply, she said without looking up. He grinned, rubbing his neck. Not accustomed to solid roofs. She slid him a plate of warm bread. Better get used to it, she said, eyes sharp. He ate while her words settled within him. The land, the house, her presence, they were weaving into his being, steady as deep-growing roots. They rode out to inspect cattle, traveling side by side. The widow handled her horse expertly, confident and strong. You ride excellently, he said, impressed. She smirked. Had to learn. No one else available. He nodded, respecting her resilience. You don't need me, he said. She reined in her mount, facing him. Need and want are different things, she said. I want you here. Her words struck deep, stirring emotions he couldn't identify. The cowboy discovered an old cradle in the barn, covered with dust. He dragged it outside, curious. The widow's expression softened upon seeing it. Made it for a child who never arrived, she said quietly. He touched the wood, rough beneath his fingertips. Could still serve its purpose, he said, surprising himself. Her eyes met his, hopeful. That's what I'm counting on, she said, her voice carrying quiet promise. Harvest season arrived, fields golden with grain. They worked together, scythes flashing in rhythm. This is my vision, she said, wiping sweat away. A legacy. A son to work this ground, he paused, leaning on his tool. And if I can't provide that? He asked. She stepped close, fierce in her conviction. You can. I'm certain of it. Her faith shook him, but also steadied him like a post driven deep into solid earth. One evening, she played an old fiddle, haunting melodies filling the air. He listened, mesmerized. Didn't know you possessed such talent, he said. She smiled, bow pausing. There's much you haven't discovered. She continued playing, music pulling at his soul. He felt it all, the land, her presence, the future she envisioned. "Stay," she said again, mid-melody. He nodded once, but it was enough. Her smile brightened like moonlight. The cowboy built new fencing, hands calloused but certain. The widow brought him water, her touch lingering meaningfully. "You're transforming," she observed, "fitting into this place." He wiped his brow, meeting her gaze. "Maybe you're the one changing me," he said quietly. She laughed softly. "Good. I need someone who evolves." They stood close, air warm with unspoken possibilities between them. Winter approached, bringing sharp air. They sat by the hearth, she reading, he carving wood. "What do you dream of?" she asked suddenly. He paused, knife motionless. "Never possessed dreams," he said. She closed her book. "You do now. This land, me, an heir." Her voice carried firm certainty. He studied her, firelight dancing across her features. "Maybe," he said, feeling the truth settle deep and steady as her unwavering gaze. The cowboy found her weeping once, alone beside the creek. "Are you well?" he asked awkwardly. She dried her eyes. "Just remembering what I've lost." He sat beside her silently. "You don't have to lose anymore," he said finally. She looked at him, eyes wet but fierce. "Then don't allow me to," she replied. He took her hand rough against her skin, holding it firmly, a quiet vow between them. Spring returned, fields green once more. The cowboy felt different, anchored. "I'm staying," he told her one morning, words heavy with meaning, her face illuminated with rare brightness. "Good," she said, stepping close. "We have work ahead." Her hand rested on his arm, warm, confident. He nodded, feeling the weight of her dream becoming his own, sinking deep like seeds in fertile soil. They planted together, she teaching him Earth's rhythm. "This is how beginnings start," she said, pressing seeds into dirt, with care, with patience. He watched her, learning more than agriculture. Her strength, her fire were becoming his as well. "I'm trying," he said quietly. She smiled, dirt streaking her cheek. "You're achieving more than trying," she said, her pride warming him completely. One night she took his hand, leading him to the porch. Stars shone brilliantly, air soft with promise. "You're the man I needed," she said steadily. "Not just for an heir, but for this." She gestured toward the land, the house, themselves. He swallowed, heart full. "I'm not much," he said. She shook her head. "You're enough." Her kiss was brief but fierce, sealing something neither could yet name. The cowboy remained. The land became home. The widow's dream transformed into theirs, hands joined in labor and hope. No child yet, but the seed was planted, not only in earth but within him. He was no longer timid, no longer solitary. She'd made him steady, deeply rooted. The prairie stretched endlessly, waiting for their heir, their legacy. Together they would nurture it into being, one season at a time.